What's up, family? This is your man, not your boy, bringing you another gold nugget that you can either pick up or you can just kick it aside. Look, Candice Owens just revealed some things about what the government plans of exercising the so-called next cyber attacks, shutting down grids of electricity, which brought an eye-opening experience for her to see how dependent she is on a system and not self-sufficient, taking care of herself. I want y'all to listen to this video of what she says, and I'll be back.
If you think I'm kidding, you can look this up. It is called a cyber pandemic. And it's something that every single person should be paying attention to, just in case they magically get it right again, like they did about the coronavirus pandemic. It's good for us as citizens to pay attention to that and to do what we can to prepare. And so I've been having all these discussions with my husband, seriously, like what if they actually did this? Like, what would we do? And it's made me realize that we're a very weak generation of people. And I'm talking about weak, I'm talking about millennials, I'm talking about, perhaps even the baby boomers, of how little we actually learned about survival. And we so often talk about how the governments are right now teaching kids nothing, right? These kids are learning about race, and they're learning about, pornographic material in school as we're discovering day by day. They're learning about how to be woke, and we're like, these kids are so dumb because they're not learning math, they're not learning engineering, and they're not going to be able to do anything in life because they're not learning any hard academics, any hard skills. And I've talked about that so much until I started talking about this potential cyber pandemic, and I realized actually my generation was also dumbed down, because you can read all the books in the world, every book in the entire universe, right? But if you don't actually know how to grow your own food, if you don't actually know how to survive off of your own land, how smart are you? We have convinced ourselves, especially me, I grew up in Connecticut, like coastal elites, very close to New York City. Like, we have convinced ourselves, and the people that live in these cities, Los Angeles, people that live in New York, as they're saying, we need the Green New Deal, get rid of this, so we don't want to be dependent on our own energy. Like, we'll send it overseas. We have convinced ourselves that we're so forward and we're so progressive that we're actually regressive. We don't know anything. We don't know how to grow our own food. The majority of us know how to grow our food. I have made it my entire initiative since moving to Tennessee is for my husband and I to be able to do everything by ourselves. Fortunately for me, my husband is a hunter. So you can take your picket signs and take them somewhere else, because I don't care. My husband hunts. Good. That means that we know how to survive a little bit if we're in the wild, right? He's hunted his entire life. I said to my husband, I need to learn how to grow vegetables. Like, this is the most important thing. I need to be able to learn how to grow vegetables. We're going to get some chickens. Like, I never thought I would say this. Like, we're going to be getting chickens next year, because I want to be able to know that we have food on our own property. I do not want to be a dependent. So for so long, I had in my head that if you're not on welfare, right, then you're not government dependent, but that is so wrong, right? If you don't know how to survive, if you do not know how to grow your own food, if you don't know how to make a fire, I mean, think about everything you would have to know if the power grid went down, right? If you don't have a generator, if you don't have solar panels, I mean, I'm just spitting here, but like, think about all of the things. Actually imagine your life if the power grid was taken down. Like, imagine how many things you'd have to know, right? And then I was saying to my cousin earlier, I was saying how weird it is every time if I have a question about something, even if I'm working on a recipe, I'm like, oh my God, what is the ingredient for this again? And I Google it. Everything you have to Google, you don't actually know. You're relying on the internet to tell you something that you don't actually have stored in your own brain, right? So we're so convinced that we're so forward and we're so progressive because we can get an answer fired back at us in a couple of seconds. But in reality, we don't know anything. If you have to ask Google, you don't possess the information within your own mind. So I said to my husband and I said to my cousin, like, I want to start buying books, right? The recipes are no good if they're online, right? The knowledge of how to grow your own plants is no good if you're looking it up online. I want copies of hard books. I want the books and the knowledge in my house, even chemistry, basic chemistry, and basic means of taking care of yourself. Like, what do you actually know about colloidal silver? What do you know about how to treat something, what your body actually needs? All of these things that we thought were so backwards in that big pharma save the day because we can just go get a prescription. But what if you needed to create your own prescription? What do you actually know about how to survive by yourself? What do you know that you can take that will make you better? If you get a burn, if you get sick, what are the things that actually help you in your own household? What can you have? What can you possess that will make you better? All of this stuff, like, you should be thinking about now, right? You should be thinking about it now. This is not a conspiracy. This is common sense, right? If you don't know how to survive, how would you convert salt water into drinking water? Do you know how to do that? Isn't it funny that all these people that live in between New York and LA, people that the media has smeared as backwards, as not knowing anything, right? These Bible Belt Southern Christians with their farms and their goats and their sheep, this whole idea that they've tried to create about people in the South and people in the Midwest. And these people are so much smarter than these journalists and these media members who sit up on their high horses and talk down to them. Because you know what? If the government brought down the power grid, these people would be just fine. They would be unaffected. They'd say, yeah, you can take your latte and your Starbucks all the way back to New York and LA. We're good here. And it's something that I think you should.
What do you think? Please watch my next video. I'm here in Malawi, Africa, with my beautiful brothers and sisters. I'm going to tell y'all, Malawi is a beautiful, quiet, spacious country. I'm going to come back to this country here and really look at some land. But I did a video with this village out here. They are self-sustainable, don't even need money. They grow their own food. They have their own animals. They even have solar panels. They have lights. They have wells. One is borehole and one is just a well they dug to get water out of the ground. They don't need to pay a penny. They build their own brick houses. Very simple living. Check that video out. Well, anyway, let me say this right here in closing. Candice Owens, though that we may not like some of her talks or her connections, we can always learn from somebody. Because sometimes when you're playing both sides of the fence, they're going to share what the other side is doing. And you're going to be able to learn and be able to think about, hold up, what actions are they doing? What type of things are they about to do, or how are they going to handle this situation? You can benefit. It's already been said, you should be watchful. You should be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, roars about like a roaring lion, seeking whom it may devour. So if we got an insight, or we see that these so-called exercises are going to take place, and that it might be just like the so-called COVID era, don't get caught off guard. How many people do you know have went and bought land? Let me say this right here, family. You can buy land anywhere in America. Buy you a small plot and just grow some food. Put a chicken coop on there with some chickens so they can lay eggs. You can buy a quarter-acre lot. You can buy you a half-acre lot. However which way it is, just to have a small garden so that you can be self-sufficient. On that garden, have a shed on there with a solar panel with lights. Why am I saying to do these various things on this small piece of lot? Because you're going to educate yourself how it's all going to work. Very simple. And if you can do it at a small scale, you're going to turn around and do it at a bigger scale. Then you're going to say, hey, my house, I'm going to convert my house into solar panels so I don't have to pay electric energy. I'm going to go ahead and even maybe have them dig a borehole. And I'm going to go ahead and have a well on my own property to get water. You rightfully can do that. You do know that. You can do these things in order to remove yourself off of dependency of the system. Because many of us, we don't realize we're sitting ducks. As Candice Owens says, that really we are sitting in a stupor state. We are really ignorant when we think we're smart. When here we think Africa's poor. And I keep telling my African brothers and sisters, y'all may not have the money, but y'all got the liberty, the freedom. Many of them don't. You don't have mortgages. What is a mortgage? You build your brick house. You build your wooden shack, your hut, your whatever name that you want to call it, and you got these small solar panels for the lights. Run their little radio off of it or something. Then you will see that, wow, these people they're existing. They are surviving and they're thriving. We in America, those who are there, don't know how to survive. What happens when the grocery store closes down? What happens when you see that the shipments don't come in? We've experienced that to a certain degree. Everybody runs to the grocery stores, the shelves become empty. What do? You can always have your food. You can always jar your food and preserve your food. You can always store food. You don't need to do the old way of putting in a freezer and when electricity goes out, you lose your food. Some of you don't even get just a simple generator to connect your refrigerator to off of your house. And then put maybe a light or two to hook it up. These are the things that you can all learn, family, that will be able to keep you ahead of those who goes without. Learn from those who may have inside information so that you could be a step of the game. Step ahead of the game. This is your man, not your boy, bringing you another gold nugget that you can either pick it up or you can just kick it aside.
Think about it, 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 think about it.